The trauma bay smelled like antiseptic and burned metal. Monitors hissed. Machines breathed for my son. He was so small under the sheets. Too still. A tube taped to his mouth. Another threaded into his chest like an accusation. His heartbeat flickered on the screen, uneven, stubborn, refusing to behave. My phone vibrated. Once. Twice. I didn't look at it. Not at first. I was counting his breaths, pretending that if I stayed focused enough, the universe would hesitate. It buzzed again. I checked the screen. Mother-in-law. A message. Your wife's birthday dinner is tomorrow. Don't you dare miss it. I stared at the words, then at my son's face, ashen, bruised, unfamiliar. The world narrowed to a clean, surgical silence. I typed with one hand. My son might not make it through the night. 3 dots appeared almost instantly. Be there or you're dead to us. No punctuation. No hesitation. I didn't respond. I blocked her number. Then I sat back down and watched the machines. Keep my child alive while something else inside me quietly shut off. 3 days later, when the doctors finally stepped back and the room fell into a fragile calm, my son opened his eyes. He looked straight at me. His voice was barely there. Daddy. I leaned closer. You must know this about Grandma and Mommy. That was when I realized the airlift wasn't the beginning. It was the interruption. I didn't ask him to repeat it. Children say strange things after trauma. Doctors warn you about that. Hallucinations. Confusion. The mind protecting itself. I told myself that story while his words rooted themselves. Somewhere deep and patient. In the days that followed, patterns surfaced. Small ones. The kind you only see once you stop trusting your own blindness. My wife didn't come to the hospital the first night. Or the second. She arrived on the third, eyes red, voice carefully cracked. Her mother came with her. They stood at the foot of the bed like mourners rehearsing grief. Neither touched him. My wife avoided my eyes. Not in guilt, something colder. Like calculation. Like someone waiting to see how much damage had already been done. I replayed memories I'd filed away as harmless. Missed calls explained away by her mother. Decisions made as a family where I was informed, not included. The way my son used to stiffen when Grandma picked him up. The way my wife always stood just a little too close to her mother. Like she needed instructions. And the accident. The field trip. The paperwork I never signed. The change of plans. That somehow removed my consent without removing my responsibility. I hadn't lost control. It had been taken. The realization didn't explode. It settled. Heavy. Quiet. Precise. 3. Rising suspense. I didn't confront anyone. I learned. Phone records first. School emails archived and altered. Permission forms forwarded from accounts that weren't mine. I smiled. I nodded. I thanked nurses and listened to my wife talk about how close we came. Like she hadn't been standing safely on the other side of the knife. At night, I sat beside my son and listened to his breathing. When he was stronger, I asked gently, "What do you remember?" He hesitated, then whispered truths the way children do, without understanding their weight. Grandma said Daddy didn't care. Mommy said Daddy was busy. Grandma picked him up early. Mommy wasn't there. The airlift hadn't been fate. It had been negligence. Or something worse. I hired a lawyer without telling anyone. A quiet one. The kind who doesn't ask why, only how fast. Medical timelines. Custody contingencies. Emergency authority transfers. Then I pulled phone backups. Deleted messages aren't gone. They're just waiting. What I found wasn't passion. It was alignment. My wife didn't cheat. She deferred. Every decision routed through her mother. Every override approved. Every boundary dissolved. Including me. I waited until my son was discharged. Until he slept safely in his own bed again. Then I invited them over. I laid the documents on the table. School records. Messages. Medical consent forms signed without authority. My wife reached for them. I dismissive. You're overreacting. I looked at my wife. Tell her. Silence. Then tears. Real ones this time. Ugly. Panicked. She said you'd leave, my wife whispered. She said I had to choose. I nodded. You did. Her mother stood up. You wouldn't exist without me, she snapped. I met her eyes. You won't exist to us anymore. The restraining order came first. Then the custody filing. Emergency. Temporary. Total. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't explain myself twice. I showed her mother the signed court notice before she could finish another sentence. Her confidence collapsed in real time. My wife tried to touch my arm. I stepped back. I'm not angry, I said. I'm precise. She broke then. Begging. Apologizing. Promising. I watched her the way you watch a fire burn out. No satisfaction. Only inevitability. You handed my son to someone who hated me more than she loved him, I said. That's not a mistake. That's a decision. They left separately. Neither looked back. Weeks passed. The house became quiet in a new way. Clean. Honest. My son healed. So did something else. Not my heart. My vision. I no longer replayed conversations. I no longer wondered what I could have done differently. The truth had removed that burden. Some betrayals don't deserve forgiveness. They deserve separation. I tuck my son in every night now. I stay until his breathing steadies. Until the machines exist only as memories. Sometimes he asks where mommy is. I tell him she's somewhere else. That's enough. Because love doesn't demand obedience. And family doesn't threaten you while your child is dying. I didn't lose them. I survived them.